Hello and good morning, everyone. This is Charlie Stecker coming to you from Rancho Cordova, California on April 1st, the first day of National Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month. I'm coming to you from California because I happen to be out here this weekend on a cross-country venture sponsored by the Army of Angels and many other people. It is a cross-country motorcycle run that's going from Sacramento, California to Washington, D.C. and back in a 2-week period to raise awareness for child abuse prevention and also for crimes against children. Now, I did try to do this series last year. I had said I was going to do a video each day, and unfortunately I wasn't able to complete that task, and I do apologize. My father, unfortunately, had just passed away less than about 10 days prior to April 1, and I guess my mind really wasn't in as much as I thought it was going to be. But that said, this year I intend to fully complete out a 30-day series, April 1st through the 30th, each day touching on a topic. So today's topic is going to be about folks like the Army of Angels, about the Cross Country for Kids, about the Teddies from Eddie program, about my program, the International Child Abuse Prevention Task Force, and about my speaking company, Charlie's Angel. First, let's go to the Army of Angels. Army of Angels encapsulates a large group of people that are diverse in every area of life that you could think of. But the one thing that they do come together on is the concept that we need to stop crimes against our children. Those crimes are inclusive of everything: child abuse, neglect, trafficking, anything that has to hurt a child. And they're a wonderful group of folks led and founded by Kathleen Moore out of Sacramento, California out here. She was gracious enough and allowed me to come out here and speak this weekend several times, and it was a very enlightening experience. I had the opportunity to meet Mr. Roger Chang, the executive producer of America's Most Wanted, and while we know that program itself, as it sits now, may be coming to its end, trust me, John Walsh and Roger Chang are nowhere near the end. There are other things coming, and you just wait for them. Criminals, don't put your guard down, because they're coming after you. And if I have my way, I'll be with them. So, that being said, we talked about a little bit about the Army of Angels. I want to just touch on a few other things here. I met a wonderful man this weekend named, Tom Scales. And Tom is an adult male survivor of childhood sexual abuse. You name the sexual abuse this man in his childhood, before the age of 13, experienced. Man, just everything encapsulated into one, and it's amazing to see where he is today at the age of 70 years young, just spry and has a full stride step. I mean, I tried keeping up with him when we walked to the store the other day, and he had me on my paces, so it was great. But Tom is a wonderful man. He was the voice for Voice for many years, and Tom ventured off not far away. He's still his heart and soul, and he says he owes his recovery, or portion of his recovery, to Voice, obviously besides his family that have been there for him. But Tom has ventured off with another partner into an organization called the Innocence Revolution. The Innocence Revolution is an international, worldwide revolution as in the name, organization of people that have come together to end sexual abuse, to hold those accountable that aren't doing it, and to be the voice of those that can't. It's a wonderful and great organization, and I look forward to having Tom allow me to bring in the International Child Abuse Prevention Task Force in with his Innocence Revolution, and all of us working together. The Child Abuse Task Force, as I had mentioned, is my baby that I created. Well, dare I say I. But for the grace of God, I am here today. So the Child Abuse Prevention Task Force is really a conceptualization that God had given me in a vision. I envisioned all over our land, all over our world. We have cell groups of individuals working to do what our mission is, and that's to end crimes against children. But those cell groups are working so individually that I was thinking, what can we do to bring them together. I visioned them as links of chain laying around, each serving its own purpose. Yet somehow we have to bring our resources together, connect them together, and then stand solid against every aspect that's coming against our children, that's stopping them from living productive, full, happy lives as children, as they should. Creativity and all that should be coming during that, not being concerned about where their next meal is going to come from, who's going to hit them next, who's going to touch them improperly, how they're going to get to school, if they can get to school, how they're going to get clothes, how they're going to eat, who's going to protect them. Those things are nothing a child should be worried about. So that's our goal with the International Child Abuse Prevention Task Force, is to take these links of chain, if you will, as a word picture, and to take those links of chain and find a way just to open up a piece of them to link the other one to it. And once we link those two together, to seal that back up so that those links are together on a permanent bond. Not to take over the other person's individuality and run their program, not at all. It is to keep that individuality and yet to link us together, make us a strong chain, bonded group that is able to reach around and put a stranglehold on this thing known as crimes against children. We need to do that. We need to work together. I know we can have our different sorts of opinion and how we operate, and that's what we're about. That's what makes us human and individuals. But at the same time, we can't have the infighting going on among the different groups when our real focus is supposed to be the crimes against the children, child abuse, if you will. We need to really find a way to get past our adult egotistical ways, and I will admit at times I struggle with that myself. Last time I checked, we all have flesh. We will struggle with it. But our children don't need us doing that. While we're busy doing that with each other, battling each other and finding our own differences and faults with each other, our children are suffering and dying on the streets of our world, our nation, our city, our neighborhoods, and unfortunately some in our own homes. So that's what the International Child Abuse Prevention Task Force is about. It's a benefits corporation set up where no one, and yes, I did say no one, inclusive of me, the founder and director, will receive any income at all from it. All monies that will come to it will go directly back to the streets. And what I mean to the streets, I'm not talking going out throwing it around the streets. I'm talking about directly into the hands of the children. The only expense that the International Child Abuse Prevention Task Force will incur will be office expense, which will be kept to a minimum, which will be whatever it takes to run the office, website, updating on business cards, basic business needs. Anyone that joins that task force in the next couple of days, with the help of Kathleen Moore, I will be setting up the framework for a membership into the International Child Abuse Prevention Task Force. We will see how that goes. There'll be different levels of membership. I know that already, but we're going to set up the parameters for what the monetary value is to that, and in turn find and give a value back to those that are going to give. Now, it is set up as a benefits corporation, not as a 501c3 nonprofit. And it was set up that way because, as anyone knows who's in a 501c3 or has attempted to get a 501c3, you already know both the difficulties in getting it, the difficulties in keeping it, and then the government control that is empowered over it. Now, all those three things kept me wondering, what else can I do? Well, I have a wonderful team of attorneys back in Philadelphia, where I'm from, that was able to come up with this benefits corporation. And it is a legal government business entity, and I advise anyone, look into it. You don't get all the benefits of a 501c3, but you don't have all the headaches either. And I was able to get it set up inside of a 3.5-week period from the day of conception. So thank you to my legal team back in Philadelphia. I look forward to being back there in a few days. But in the meantime, I sit here in Rancho Cordova bringing you today's message. In my final piece, you're going to wonder, well, if you're not drawing an income, or at least I would wonder, and perhaps you may or may not, but if you're not going to draw an income from the, and no one's going to draw an income from the Child Abuse Prevention Task Force, how will you live and how will others live? Well, I can't speak for how others will live, but I know that anybody who's committed to the task of ending crimes against children, it's not about money. If it's truly what your heart is about, it's about getting the job done. There leads me into how I hope to, through the grace of God, be it His will, and I stepped out in faith March 1st of this year that it will be His will, that I will be able to travel around this great land of ours in the United States and worldwide, internationally, as God sees it fit, and I'm able to expand the horizons that He gave me. And under that, I am going to be speaking with under my other company, which I named Charlie's Angel. It's a limited liability corporation set up with me as the sole proprietor of it. The idea there is for me to be going around this great land of ours and this entire world, speaking on not only my past and my experiences, but more importantly, because we all have experiences and things we can share about our pasts that are debilitating and devastating, that shouldn't have happened. Any one of us can. Doesn't matter where you are and what walk of life you are. But more importantly, the message I need to be getting out there, and I will be getting out there, is that through whatever you go through, you can and will move ahead. And it's only you that can stop you. Now, I'm not talking to children right now. Children under the age of 18, unfortunately, you are under the influence and the direction of the adults who are surrounding your life. And what I'm saying to you, children under the age of 18, if you're watching this video, is that this man here that you're looking at will be your voice if you need him to. But many, many voices in the International Child Abuse Prevention Task Force will be out there to be your voice. We have your back. Now, that's not to say that if your parents aren't redirecting you because of behavior issues that are not cause of child abuse, that we're going to be running in and rescuing you. But we will listen, we will look at the situation, and we will do everything we can to make sure that you are protected. So Charlie's Angel, if you're looking for a speaker, there will be no fee scale set up for me, as I'm the one setting it up. I've been offered an agent and I refuse it. At least for now. It's because where I am mentally with this is that I don't feel that I want that, because it just seems like an expense. So there will be no set fees. You want me to come to your town, to your organization, to wherever it is you need me to speak, to a prison. I'll speak on the streets with the homeless. I'll sit next to the curbs and the gutters with them. And I'll speak in the White House if I'm allowed. It doesn't matter where I am, I'm comfortable. More importantly, it's not about me. It's about the message that needs to be getting out to each and every one of you. So Charlie's Angel, as I said, will have no parameters for what it costs. I will ask that if I have to travel, that we work on trying to create a travel plan that's fiscally responsible to everyone involved. That obviously we would need, lodging and meals if that was possible, and then maybe a small stipend for the speaking time. Again, with no set figures. What was given to me freely, I don't feel I have a right to charge an exuberant amount of money for. What I do ask is to keep in mind that this will be my livelihood. But I do have faith in God that I will not have to beg, borrow, or steal to get where I need to go to do His mission. Because His word promises me that it will not fall nigh. And if I'm falling in line with the word of God and the will of God, that I will be provided for. So folks, if you want to hear a great message, and I sound like I'm boasting on myself, and I'm normally very humble, and most people will tell you that know me, for a moment I will. I feel I have a great and wonderful message. And it's coming from the messenger of messengers. And I'm being used as the vessel to deliver. We love you, children. There's fighters out here for you. Our Cross Country for Kids motorcycle team that's out there right now on the highways and byways of this great land, leaving the West Coast heading east. I will see you folks next Sunday in Washington, D.C. That's right, folks. Next Sunday in Washington, D.C., the Cross Country for Kids motorcycle motorcade will be arriving at the National Law Enforcement Memorial, where I will be speaking next week in Washington, D.C., on the other side of this great country of ours, in that great country's capital that we have. We're going to turn government around through another organization I'm involved with, which I'll get to in the next video. Be ready to hear about Neighbors Uniting the American Family, Jesse Epps, his connection with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the I Am a Man speech, and how we're going to take back our country and make it a country where the government is serving the people, not the people serving the government like it is today. Thank you for listening today to the International Child Abuse Prevention Task Force, April 1st, 2013, inaugural address for the National Child Abuse Prevention Month of April 2013, coming to you live from Sacramento, California, Rancho Cordova, at the Fairfield Inn & Suites, room 306. Look forward to getting back to you folks tomorrow. Have a great and blessed day. Take care.